Hello everyone, Namaste and welcome to the Soulful Saturday series hosted by Juru Yoga. I am Shruthi Shankar Kumar. I am a yoga teacher and a practitioner from Chennai and really happy to be a part of this series right now. So today we'll be talking a little bit about breath and movement. What is the right way to breathe while you're practicing asanas, different pranayama techniques, and a little bit about what are the benefits of breathing the right way on your body. What is the impact that breathing the right way will have on your body? So we all know about prana. Prana is the life force that sustains our body and basically it enables all the vital functions that are happening in our body: respiration, digestion, circulation, and so on. So without going too much into what is prana, let me just talk a little more superficially about breath as such. So basically breath is the factor that connects our body with our mind. So it's always it's a three-way connection between the three of this. So we find that when our mind is agitated, our breath rate immediately becomes faster and shallow. And similarly, we find that when we struggle during some movements, we also find that the breath becomes faster then. So the breath is the force that links the two things that are mind and body. So we have, all of us have a particular capacity in our lungs. We can all inhale and exhale a certain quantity of air. But we find that the amount of air that we inhale and exhale while we just breathe normally during the day is actually much lesser than the amount of air that you can actually inhale. So you find that when you breathe normally during the day, most of it is involuntary. So we don't know, we're not conscious when we are breathing throughout the day. So what we can do is try to set aside some time during the day to actually breathe consciously. So why do we need to breathe consciously? So we can take in a certain amount of air into the lungs. So more air, more oxygen, more circulation in the body, and the body feels better. All the functions of the body are happening much better. But when we don't do that, there's a little lesser circulation, and we find that we have some internal issues inside the body which can happen because we're not breathing properly. So why do we need to breathe properly? Is mainly to increase the circulation of oxygen and all the other vital nutrients into the body. So what we can do is try to set aside some portion of the day to actually try and breathe in a conscious manner, right? So let us look at some of the muscles that are involved while we breathe. So we all know the diaphragm. Diaphragm is the most important muscle involved in breathing. So diaphragm is actually an involuntary muscle. So when we breathe, when we inhale, take in air, the diaphragm descends. Diaphragm is in between the thoracic cavity and the abdomen. So when we take in air, the diaphragm goes down, descends, and creates more space in the chest and in the thorax for us to get in more air. And when we exhale, the diaphragm lifts up, abdomen contracts, and the air is exhaled out of the body. So there's another set of muscles involved called the intercostal muscles. So what we can do in conscious breathing is try to, integrate these muscles also into our breathing. So normally if we can inhale a certain quantity of air, by engaging these muscles, we can actually try and get in a little bit more air into the body, a little bit more oxygen, a little more nutrients. So what helps us to breathe better is, one of the main things is asana practice. So we know the first four components of the Ashtanga Yoga as mentioned in the Yoga Sutras of Patanjali. So we have the yama, niyamas, which are good habits and things that we can follow to maintain a healthy lifestyle. Third and fourth components are asana and pranayama. So there's a reason why this order is given in Ashtanga Yoga. So we cannot directly jump into the pranayama or the dhyana stage because first our body needs to be prepared for these things. So We cannot directly start teaching somebody pranayama. We first have to get the body prepared to be able to practice pranayama. So there are so many postures which help us to increase our lung capacity, increase our breathing rate. For example, when we do back bend, when we do a back bend practice, we find that the chest cavity is increased, thoracic capacity is increased, and we find that our inhale becomes a little longer. Same way when we do forward bends or twists, we try to focus on the exhale and try to lengthen the breath little by little. So what we can do here is try to understand why we do certain movements during asana on inhale, why we do certain movements on exhale. So again, like I said, the mind and body are linked through the breath. So why we do certain movements on inhale or exhale? Let us take a simple posture. Let's just think of say Paschimottanasana, which is the forward bending posture. So like I said few minutes back, let's look at the diaphragm. When we exhale, the diaphragm is lifting back up and we have little more space in the abdomen, which makes it easier to bend forward. So when we bend forward, we try to exhale and bend forward. So when we inhale, we're expanding the chest capacity, which becomes a little more difficult to bend forward at that time. So we try to exhale while we do a forward bend. Similarly, when we do a simple movement like just raising your arms all the way up. So you try to raise your arms up on inhale, arms all the way up. And when you exhale, you bring the arms down. So when we try to reverse this movement, let's try to raise the arms up while we exhale and bring the arms down while we inhale. We'll find that this movement feels a little more maybe weird than when we're doing it the other way. So when we inhale and raise the arms, we're expanding the whole body upwards. So we're creating more space in the chest, more space in the entire upper body. So we want to inhale that time, try to expand the chest capacity as much as possible. When we exhale, we try to contract the body and we're bringing the arms down. So this is one of the examples that we can look at as to why certain movements will be done on inhale or exhale. This is just again one of the postures, but you can look at any posture. It is always the breath that leads the movement when we are practicing asana and not the other way. One more thing that we need to remember is that asana practice is not like other forms of exercise where we don't look at it as a cardio workout or any form of workout. So in asana practice, the breath is always the leading force. So whenever we feel the breath going out of control, or we feel like I'm gasping for breath, or my breath is becoming a little shallow, it's time to take a break for a short while, and then you can resume the asana practice. So we always want to allow the breath to lead the movement. So when the breath is slow, the heart is pumping at a normal rate. So when the breath becomes faster, the heart is working out more than it needs to, which is not the goal of asana practice. The goal of asana practice is to get the benefits of asanas on a physical level as well as a physiological level and internal level. So we all know that different asanas have different benefits on each and every part of the body. It can be on a muscular level in the external body, and it can also be on an internal level at the level of your internal organs. So there are postures that help with digestion, there are postures that help with improving your breathing capacity. So there are different benefits for different postures, and we can try to get the maximum benefit out of these postures only if we try to maintain the breath at a constant rate throughout the practice. So let us look at a little bit more about the impact of proper breathing on our body. So we have this thing called the autonomic nervous system, autonomous nervous system, which controls all the vital functions in the body. That's respiration, circulation, digestion, excretion, and so on. So the autonomous nervous system has two components further. So we have the sympathetic and the parasympathetic nervous system. So what do these two systems do? So the sympathetic nervous system is basically responsible for our fight and flight reactions. What does that mean? So these are more like survival instincts, which actions we need to take like in the spur of the moment. So the sympathetic nervous system controls that, and it helps us to react immediately in times when it is absolutely needed. For example, say you're going for a walk somewhere and something's coming to attack you, and you probably need to, you can't sit and meditate at that time. You need to rush. So that's what the sympathetic nervous system is responsible for. The parasympathetic nervous system is responsible for the rest and digest function. So mainly it is responsible for digestion in the body and also for bringing the body to a rest position, right? So what proper breathing does is it works on the parasympathetic in terms of it helps us to enhance the parasympathetic nervous system, and it tries to make us little more calm. And what it does to the sympathetic is it makes it work only in the times when it is absolutely needed. So instead of reacting in situations where the immediate reaction is not necessary, what proper breathing will do is to help us use that sympathetic nervous system only when it is needed and not when it is not required in particular situation. So this is what proper breathing will do to help us get the parasympathetic and sympathetic under our control. So what we can do now is try a little bit of deep breathing. So we know a lot of pranayama techniques. So there are different techniques that most yoga teachers would be teaching you about. So we have the Nadi Shodhana pranayama, we have Kapalabhati, we have Anuloma, Viloma, many different techniques. Each of these techniques has their own benefits and has a lot of impact on our body. So first thing again, like I said, what we need to do is first have a good asana practice. So when you work on your asana practice, you become more comfortable to be able to sit and practice pranayama and meditation for a longer time. So let us first look at some postures that you can do to work on your breath better. So what we can do to extend the breath. So normally say if you are inhaling for 3 seconds and you are exhaling for 3 seconds. So what we can do to increase that a little bit to say 5 seconds or 6 seconds, try to integrate your breath and the movement. So when you raise your arms up, for example, you inhale and raise the arms up all the way up, exhale and bring the arms down. So here what we can try to do is do the movement for a period of 5 seconds. So try to continue the movement and the breath till the 5 seconds is completed. Same way as we bring the arms down, we try to continue the breath till the movement is completed. So let's try it out maybe a couple of times. So inhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Arms all the way up. Now start your exhale. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So here we want to coordinate the breath and the movement. Try to make both extend till we finish a count of 5 seconds. Alright, so let's try it a couple more times. Inhale 1, 2, keep breathing. 3, 4, 5. Exhale 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Right, so this might be a little hard in the first few tries if you're completely new to asana practice, and with consistent practice it should become better, and ultimate goal is to try and extend the breath for as long as possible. So the more your breath becomes longer, you're able to take in a lot more air and you're able to get in a lot more oxygen into the body, which improves your circulation. So this is one of the reasons why we should try and consciously breathe for a little longer time than what we involuntarily do during the rest of the day. So we can do each and every asana during our asana practice. We can try to incorporate this. So instead of rushing into the movement, let us try to take 5 or 10 seconds for each movement that we do. And then when we stay in the posture also, we should try and stay for a little longer period of time. So every time when you try and give a count to the breath, it will help us to stay in the posture for a much longer time and get the full benefit of the posture. It will also help to extend your breathing for a much longer time. So this is one thing that you can do to try and extend your breath rate. The second thing that we can try is obviously the different pranayama techniques. So again, like I said, it is not possible to sit and practice pranayama without having a good foundation in asana practice. We can practice both side by side. So one thing that we can try first to extend the breath is to try and breathe through one nostril. So breathing in and breathing out through a single nostril is sometimes much easier than inhaling and exhaling through both the nostrils. So what we can try is a simple alternate nostril breathing. So we'll start through the left nostril, inhale through the left and exhale through the right nostril. So again here, if your usual capacity is about 3 to 4 seconds, you can try to push a little further and probably extend it to 5 or 6 seconds. You can try that a couple of times. So you can close your right nostril with your thumb and inhale through the left nostril for 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Now close the left nostril and exhale through the right for 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Let's try that once again. So inhale through the left nostril 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Exhale through the right nostril 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So you can try to slowly increase the rate little by little. So maybe you could start with trying to keep your inhale and exhale to an equal length. So if you start with 4 or 5 seconds of inhale, see if you can extend your exhale for the same length of time. So for most of us, we find that exhaling is a little harder. I mean, doing a slow exhale is a little harder than doing a slower inhale. So let us try to start with an equal length of inhale and exhale, and with time you can try to increase your exhale a little bit more, probably twice the length of your inhale, which will be a good ratio to follow. So if you're doing a 5-second inhale, you can try to exhale for up to 10 seconds. So we can try breathing through a single nostril first, which will be an easier way to start, and then once you become adept in that and you're feeling a little more comfortable, then you can try to maintain the same ratio while you're doing your inhale through both the nostrils and exhale through both the nostrils. Again, start with an equal ratio of 5 and 5, and then you can try to extend that to extend the exhale to twice the length of your inhale. So this is a couple of methods that you could try and follow to extend your breath. So the third and most important thing that we need to know is the impact of breath on our mind. So pranayama is one of the most effective tools to try and bring the mind under our control. So what we can practice is first conscious breathing. So let us try to spend a few minutes of each day in trying to breathe consciously, being aware of our breathing. So we don't have to practice yoga and practice asana and immediately step towards the pranayama practice. So instead of, apart from doing that, what you could also try is during the day, just set aside a few minutes of your day in a quiet place without any distractions and spend a few minutes just focusing on your breath. So try not to think of anything else. Just try to spend few minutes just watching how you breathe. You don't even have to do different pranayama techniques or anything. So just spend a few minutes in a quiet environment and just watch your breath. Follow your breath and try to find out, where am I breathing fast? When am I breathing slow? So when we breathe fast, we find that maybe our mind is thinking of certain things, and we feel that when we are agitated or when we are tensed about those things, then our breath does tend to get faster, and that will help you to identify what are the things that affect your mind and affect your breath, and then you can work on that and you can try to bring the breath under control, which also in turn brings the mind under your control. So what we could do here is again spend a few minutes trying to watch your breath. So you can lie down on your back itself, just lie down on the back and watch your abdomen rise up with each inhale and fall with each exhale. So this is our normal breathing. This is the kind of breathing that we do when we're asleep. So it is a completely involuntary breathing. We don't try to force anything, or we don't try to increase your inhale or exhale. It is just a completely involuntary process, and it just goes at its natural pace. So this is the normal resting breathing that we do while we're asleep. So you can just try to follow that. Just lie down and watch how you breathe. And then from there, what you can do is slowly bring awareness to your body. Bring the awareness to the body and see how long are you inhaling for, how long are you exhaling for. And from there, what we can try to do is try to practice the full yogic breath. So what we have to do in that is we'll use the abdomen muscles, we'll use the thorax, and we'll also use a little bit of the throat and the nose. So what we do in a full yogic breath is when we inhale, first we expand the abdomen and then we expand the chest. Inhale to the fullest capacity, a little bit using the throat and the nose also, and then when we exhale, we try to get all the air out and suck the belly completely inside and exhale all the air out of the body. So this is a full yogic breath. So this will take a few seconds to do. So when we start again, when we inhale, we try to expand the chest to the fullest capacity, deep breath in. Use a little bit on the throat and the nose, and when we exhale, we suck the belly in and try to get all the air out of the body. So this way we will become a little more aware of how we are breathing and how long we are breathing for, how much air we can inhale and exhale. So this kind of breathing will also help us to concentrate the mind completely on the breath, and rather than focusing on external distractions, which will bring the awareness inwards. So we'll start focusing inwards, we'll turn our attention inwards towards the breath and then towards the body, and we'll be able to focus on the body and the breath a little more than the external distractions. So how the breath impacts the mind is that when we are tense, we can try to practice a few rounds of deep breathing this way. So you can also choose any pranayama form that you are comfortable with. So that is also an option. So you can either practice pranayama if you are already aware of what are the different techniques of pranayama that are available, or you can also just try to bring your awareness to the breath. So we find that when we are worried about something else, when we are tense about something else, let us try to turn the attention inwards completely towards the breath and give a count for your breath. So you just focus completely on the breath and try to inhale for a few seconds, exhale for a few seconds, and try to keep the breath equal. So when we are agitated, let us try to focus inwards, turn the attention towards the breath and take a deep breath in. Begin your inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Exhale 1, 2, all the air out, 3, 4, suck your belly in, and 5. Try it once again. Now inhale 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5. Exhale 1, sucking the belly in, 2, 3, 4 and 5. So you can breathe like this for as long as you need. So the more you take deep breaths like this, the better it is for you. So it's not that you have to take only 5 or 10 breaths. So the more you consciously breathe and focus on your breath, the more you will be able to bring the mind under control, and you will be able to reduce any kind of agitation or stress that you may have. So let's try to breathe a little more consciously. During the day, let us try to spend few minutes and focus our attention on the breath. So like B.K. Saingar Guruji once said, the body is the temple and asana is the prayer. So we should treat our bodies with complete respect and be aware of what is going inside our bodies in terms of food, and try to breathe a little more consciously, because the more we breathe, the better we breathe, the better the entire body is going to function. Most of the ailments or diseases that we have are probably because of things that we mostly do wrong in terms of eating the wrong things, or not breathing the right way, or not exercising enough. So the more we try to take care of our bodies, we'll find that these ailments will not exist. So yoga is a very holistic system that encompasses not just physical well-being in terms of the body, but also internally in terms of your internal organs, everything, your heart, the intestines, the stomach, all the internal organs, your lungs, and also has an impact on the level of the mind. So the benefits of yoga are there on all the 3 levels. It's there on a physical, on an internal, and on a mental level. So the more we practice, the better we can get the full benefit of this wonderful system that has been handed down to us by our ancestors. So let us wrap up by chanting Om. You can try 3 times. So let us try to chant for as long as possible. When you inhale, just take a deep breath in and try to inhale to your fullest capacity. And as you exhale and chant, just think of releasing all the negativity, all the tension from your body, and just chant with your fullest capacity and try to get out all the negative thoughts, and just focus on your chant, focus on the sound of the Om. Let us do that 3 times. So take a nice deep inhale, deep breath in. Deep breath in. Deep breath in. So we can wrap up with that, and I hope you all have a wonderful practice of yoga and try to take yoga as a way of life rather than just the 1 hour that we spend on the mat. But it is definitely a wonderful system that has innumerable benefits, and the more we try to incorporate yoga into our lives, the better our lives will become. And thank you to Juru for hosting me for the Soulful Saturday series. Hope you all have a wonderful day.